Hello and welcome to the Frontington and Backwoods Railway. Today I'm building a platform. No station is complete without a place to load and unload. And with all the track in place, I thought the next part of the build ought to be creating the station platform. Spoiler warning, it didn't pan out quite how I expected. My imagined setting is that Frontington is a Great Western branch line terminus, a fictional location in South Devon in the heyday of steam, before diesels and austerity came along. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from the Kingsbridge branch, known as the Primrose Line. Looking at photos of the stations along that line gives me a good idea of the style of platform I might aim for. I've created my track plan to have a gentle curve at the station, which adds some visual interest compared to a dead straight one, but that also makes it a little bit more difficult to make. But I have some extruded polystyrene sheet left over from my previous layout, and I'm going to try to use that to construct my station platform. After roughly laying out the shape of the platform, I cut out some edge pieces, using an old Hornby platform piece as a guide. I hooked the lip over the edge, making my edge piece about 1mm shorter than it needs to be, but you'll see why later. The next part was making those foam edges look a bit more like brickwork. I'm not going for completely regular and even bricks, but not completely haphazard either. And after a little experimenting, I settled on using a small embossing tool to gently carve little lines in the surface. I'd started with the bigger blocks and then filled in the smaller bricks around it. And this is more of an art than a science. And although it looks fiddly, it was actually quite satisfying and relaxing to do, and I was quite pleased with the final outcome. To hold these edges in place, I used some double-sided tape. Hopefully this will mean it'll be possible to remove the platform if and when I need to take the boards apart again. Now, you'll recall that these edge pieces are deliberately 1mm too short. That's because I'm going to use some 1mm styrene sheet to make some individual paving slabs to glue along the edge. I used a knife to score into the sheet, which I could then snap apart quite easily. Then it was just a case of using PVA glue to stick them all in place. Again, this looks tedious, but didn't actually take too long. Now for the rest of the platform surface. Now, I don't want the whole thing paved because, looking at photos from the stations on the Kingsbridge branch, most of them weren't that fancy. It looks like most of them were compacted dirt and gravel. So my plan is for the area immediately outside the station building to be paved, or at least have a more hard-wearing surface, and the rest will be compacted gravel. The first step is creating some sort of surface to fill in the gap. I'm using a piece of tracing paper to figure out the exact shape I need, because it's far from regular. Then I can transfer that shape onto a piece of card. Pressing hard on the tracing paper leaves a slight indent in the card below, and if I get the light just right, I can then draw over that with a pencil and get the exact shape I'm after. And that's all looking lovely. I'm very happy with the shape of the platform. However, as I hinted right at the beginning, it's not without its flaws. The brickwork looks okay, though it is perhaps just a little oversized for 00 gauge. And the joins between the pieces are really obvious. Even with a lot of weathering, I might still not be able to hide them. The paving slabs are good, but perhaps a little too uneven for the Great Western Railway, which has always taken a lot of pride in its appearance. The card is already sagging a little too. I did a little experiment with another small piece of card, using sand to create the gravel surface. And while the scale looks good, the PVA glue I used caused the card to warp horribly. And I can only assume the rest of my platform would do the same. And when I painted the sand, the moisture in the paint reactivated the glue and some of it came loose. So while it looks promising from a distance, I'm not convinced this is going to work. It's been a lesson in choosing the right materials. I'm not going to work on this anymore for the moment because there are other projects I need to turn my attention to, but I'll definitely need to come back for a second attempt at some point. Maybe using wood for the top surface and textured brick paper for the sides. We'll see. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Given the limited success of this project, I wouldn't necessarily recommend any of the techniques I've used here, but it's good to share our experiences, even if they don't turn out quite how you expect. I've got some other interesting projects coming up, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. And you'll find details in the notes below about how you can support the channel. That's all from me for this video. Bye for now.